Special United Nations Ambassador Gerald Sengyuva. Here is part 13 of the United Nations Peacekeeping Operations, an introduction, my review series. Key civilian positions of the support component. The Director or Chief of Mission Support, DMS or CMS, is the most senior United Nations official within the mission that is authorized to expand UN funds associated with the mission's allocated budget. This is a critical function in all peacekeeping missions. Depending on the mission size, the DMS, Director of Chief of Mission, or CMS, is supported by the following civilian officials: Deputy Director of Mission Support, DDMS, Chief Administrative Services, CAS, Chief Integrated Support Services, CICSS. Role and functions of the three key positions reporting to the DMS or CMS, that is Director of Mission Support, DMS or CMS, Chief of Mission Support. DDMS provides advice on the work of the support component of the Director of Mission Support. This function is available in some missions only. The CAS, Chief Administrative Service, reports to the DMS or CMS and is responsible for the provision of efficient and effective administrative support to all mission personnel, including financial and human resources management and procurement. In some cases, the Chief Administrative Services also acts as the Deputy Director of Mission Support. The CISS, that is the Chief Integrated Support Services, under the direction of the DMS or CMS, the CISS is responsible to meet all of the operational support requirements of the uniformed and civilian components of the mission, while ensuring free, accountable, and optimal use of mission resources. She or he provides management supervision over all of United Nations peacekeeping operations, civilian, commercial, and military logistics support resources, excepting those committed solely to military operations. Management structures in UN peacekeeping operations. The top principles of the various components of the peacekeeping operation are brought together in the mission leadership team. A senior level decision-making forum. On top, we have the special representative of the Secretary General or the head of mission. Under him, we have the COS. Under them, we have Deputy Special Representative of the Secretary General. We also have Humanitarian Coordinator and the Resident Coordinator, followed by the Head of Police Component, followed by the Deputy Special Representative of the Secretary General on the same line of authority, followed by Head of Military Component on the same line of authority, followed by DMS, that is Director of Chief of Mission Support, or CMS, Chief of Mission Support. That is how it is organized. Responsibilities and composition of the mission leadership team. Responsibilities. The mission leadership team is the mission's primary executive decision-making forum, which supports integrated decision-making between different components of integrated missions with respect to the UN country team. In addition, the mission leadership team also establishes and communicates the shared and strategic vision for achieving the mandate. The composition of the mission leadership team comprises of the special representative of the Secretary General or the head of a mission and his or her deputies, the COS, Chief of Staff, then the DMS, that is the Director or Chief of Mission, then the Head of Military Component and the Head of Police Component. In addition, most peacekeeping operations, particularly larger ones, will have a senior management group, SMG, which is a wider management, planning and coordinated forum, as well as it's also in charge of coordination as a forum, as well as the heads of various civilian components in the mission, such as political affairs, human rights, and public information. Many of these may not exist in traditional peacekeeping operation. Therefore, the SMG will be considerably smaller than in a multidimensional peacekeeping operation. The civilian component. You have to understand that the United Nations is equal to peace itself. The civilian component may vary from mission to mission, depending on the mandate. How the civilian component are structured in a multidimensional peacekeeping mission is as follows. On top, we have Director of Mission Support or Chief of Mission Support, DMS or CMS, followed by Special Representative of the Secretary General, Head of the Mission. On the same top level, on another side, we have mission mandate beneficiaries. So, downwards, we have integrated support services, whereby we have administration services, we have safety and security, and under the Special Representative of Secretary General, we have Chief of Staff, we have Deputy Special Representative of the Secretary General or Deputy Head of Mission, and you have Deputy Special Representative of Secretary General, Resident Coordinator. And under all of those three, we have substantive components. Substantive components, they include support, which provide services to substantive components, and substantive components also provide services to mission mandate beneficiaries. The military component. The military component plays an instrumental role in UN peacekeeping operation. The role of the military component in a traditional and multidimensional peacekeeping operation. In a traditional peacekeeping operation, the MC, the military component, is generally made up of unarmed military observers or lightly armed contingents carrying out observative tasks. The military component carries out the mandated tasks to monitor or supervise any military arrangements that parties to a conflict have agreed upon while the peace process continues. That is a traditional peacekeeping operation. Over time, the tasks of UN military components have become increasingly complex. The conflicts in which they intervene no longer involve only national armies, but may also now include irregular forces, guerrilla factions, and even armed criminal gangs. Consequently, the military capabilities under United Nations Command has changed and is no longer the lightly armed intervention aimed at separating national armed forces that was typically during the first, that was the type of during the first 40 years of UN peacekeeping operation. So, the multi-dimensional peacekeeping operation, the primary function of the military component is to create a secure and stable environment for other elements of the peace process to be implemented. For example, human rights monitoring, national reconciliation, and distribution of humanitarian assistance. Depending on the mandate, there may also be tasks associated with monitoring of a ceasefire or certain boundaries. In such cases, the military component may carry out these tasks in collaboration with the other components, such as political affairs officers. The success of multidimensional operations is measured by more than just the absence of conflict. The establishment and development of strong institutions and respect for the rule of law are also important for conditions for success, and this cannot be achieved through the threat or use of military force alone. For those reasons, the military component must work with all other partners in this wider context to consolidate peace and security. Categories of military personnel. There are three main categories of military personnel in a UN peacekeeping operation, and they are: 1. Formed military unit or contingents; 2. Military experts on mission; and 3. Staff officers. All categories of military personnel in a peacekeeping operation report to the head of military components. Formed military units contingents. The biggest number of United Nations military personnel are deployed as formed military units on contingents. These are fully functioning units of armed soldiers with their own command structure, which correspond to traditional military formations. For example, companies with about 120 to 150 soldiers, battalions with about 500 to 1,000 soldiers, brigades with about 4,000 to 10,000 soldiers. Then, military experts on mission. Both traditional and multidimensional peacekeeping operations have military experts on mission. These are unarmed military personnel who carry out specific observer or advisory functions outlined in the mandate and carry out various titles, including UN military observers, UNMO, military liaison officers, MLO, military advisors, MILAD, and arms monitors, AM, depending on the mandate of the mission. Staff officers. All peacekeeping operations also have staff officers who are military officers deployed in an individual capacity to perform specified functions at the mission's force headquarters or in joint mission structures such as personnel, civil-military coordination, and training. Common military activities. There are activities of the military component of a peacekeeping operation, and they include contribution to the security sector reform, contribution to disarmament, demobilization, and reintegration, provision of secure environment through conducting patrols, establishing and operating checkpoints, securing major routes to facilitate mobility, securing key facilities like hospitals, power plants, etc. Military staff structure. There is a generic military component structure of multi-dimensional peacekeeping operation. And on top we have mission headquarters, and we have force commander, and we have deputy force commander or chief military observer, and we have three posts: the UN military observers, the force units, and the chief of staff. Under the force units, we have the Sector Center, which include Sector West, Sector East, and the Mission Integrated Support Organization. While under the Deputy Chief Military Observer, we have Chief of Staff, and we have staff officers, and under them we have another structure that is more correlated to the East Sector, which is to the Sector Center, which is Force Reserve Guard and Administrative Company COI, MP Unit, Demining Company, Construction Engineering Company, Level 2 Medical Company, and AFN Unit. Then under them we have specialized groups. The military staff structure can vary between different forces, particularly as they will be organized according to the task, but the core elements will remain the same. We have the outline of the military staff structure formed at the mission's force headquarters, and that staff structure starts from the force commander, then the deputy force commander or chief military observer. On the same line, we have line of authority, we have advisors, legal, and PO. Under the deputy chief military observer or deputy force commander, we have the UN military officers, then the chief of staff. Under the chief of staff, we have G1, G2, G3, G4, G5, G6, G7, G8, G9. In G1, you have personnel. In G2, we have intelligence security. In G3, we have operations. In G4, we have logistics. In G5, we have planning. In G6, we have communications and information systems. In G7, we have training. In G8, we have finance. In G9, we have CIMIC. G stands for Army Staff. Then J stands for Joint. For instance, Navy, Army, Air Force staff. Then when they are combined, that means condition and joint staff. So this can vary between different forces, particularly as this will be organized according to the task, but the core elements will remain the same. Within this structure, military jargon is applied, and the number for the staff branches may not be very clear to civilians. Therefore, if in doubt, we have to ask our military colleagues for clarity. The letter preceding the staff branch number may differ from mission to mission. Nevertheless, the same numbers usually apply for each branch function. Guidelines on working with the military component. In almost all missions, you will have contact with the colleagues from the military components. The military presence in missions is in most cases the predominantly largest group. Your attitude towards them and their attitude towards you depends on mutual understanding. You will note that the military culture is shaped by a number of different influences, and those influences shaping the military culture, they include they are male-dominated, there are rules, there are order and obedience, there is a collective pride, there is a foundation and identity. Predominantly male-dominated component, a strong culture in rules, customs, and tradition, strong sense in order, obedience, oath, and the way military serve, The military takes pride in unit, group, and organization. An individual is a subordinate to the group. No individual identity is encouraged. This enhances collective performance of the group. Then there is a foundation that is strong sense for the love for the country, love for the organization, first and foremost, loyalty, honor, devotion to duty 24/7. The military culture is shaped by identity, that is the uniform, insignia, and badges, and each having peculiarities and background. Military force structure. This is an outline template for a military force structure, and the chart that I'm going to tell you emphasizes hierarchical structure, clear chain of command line is top-down, used to follow orders. The commander is the primary person responsible for the actions of his or her subordinates. The military force structure starts 1. Corps. Under corps, we have division, we have another division, and another division. Under divisions, we have brigade, we have another brigade, and another brigade. Under the brigades, we have battalion, and another battalion, and another battalion. Under battalions, we have companies, a company, and another company, and a third company. Under companies, we have platoons, a platoon, a second platoon, and a third platoon. Under platoons, we have sections, section, a section 2, and another section, third one. In the next review, we are going to see the police component. Thank you very much for watching, and I hope you will keep watching the UN Peacekeeping Operations, my review series.